All right, welcome back to ABA exam review and the continuation of our RBT practice questions series where we're going through another set of questions together and breaking them down. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Please like and subscribe. Check out btexamreview.com for all of our study materials, including our combo pack. When you pass your exam, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. Let's get going. A tour guide is giving a tour of a historical neighborhood. They go into one of the houses, and the tour guide points up above a door and says, "Notice the intricate carvings above the doorway." The tour group all look up. Tour guide saying, "Notice the intricate carvings," is an example of a what? Now, what are we focused on in this question? The question wants to know about when the tour guide said, "Notice the intricate carvings." We know they're walking through this neighborhood. They go into the house, and then the tour guide points up above the door. The tour guide pointing up above the door is the SD. Then he says, "Notice the intricate carvings above the doorway." That is the prompt because that then evokes the tour group looking up, which is our response. So the initial action from the tour guide of pointing should be the discriminative stimulus for everyone to look up. But just in case, he provides the prompt of "Notice the intricate carvings above the doorway." So if we're looking at "Notice the intricate carvings" as a type of prompt, what type of prompt is it? A visual prompt. Oh, it's spoken, right? He's not showing them a prompt. He's speaking the prompt. So it's not going to be a visual prompt. Gestural prompt. Don't get the pointing confused. The pointing is the SD. The "notice the intricate carvings" is not a gesture. What the "notice the intricate carvings" is acting as is a C verbal prompt. He is verbally prompting the tour group to look up above the door. And then D, positional prompt. Well, he's not changing the stimuli, right? He's not repositioning anything, so it's not going to be a positional prompt. The tour guide saying, "Notice the intricate carvings," is an example of C, a verbal prompt. Notice we're always reading every single one of our answer choices every single time. A person is learning to play a complex piece of music on the piano. They start by practicing small sections slowly and gradually increase the tempo and complexity as they improve. Reinforcement is initially given for the small, slow sections, but over time, reinforcement is only provided as sections become more complex. What does this resemble? Now, if you are working on your fluency and you've been studying a decent amount, I think this question is fairly simple. What do we know? We know a person is learning to play a complex piece of music. So let's say our terminal behavior, right, is this piece of music. We want to accomplish that. They start by practicing small sections slowly. So let's say they practice sections 1 and 2 and increase the tempo and complexity as they improve. So over time, they'll go 1, 2, 3, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the key is reinforcement is initially given for the small sections, but eventually they need to play the more complex sections as well to get reinforced. And it's all to try to what? To reach the terminal behavior of playing the complex piece of music. So when we are reinforcing approximations of a behavior, trying to reach that full behavior, and then making it more difficult to earn reinforcement as we go, what is that? A, negative reinforcement. Well, it doesn't mention negative reinforcement. We just know reinforcement being provided. So we can't say it's negative reinforcement. It appears to be positive. We don't know for sure. So A just doesn't fit. What about B, prompting? There may be prompting going on, but it's not mentioned here. And prompting is not what this scenario resembles. What the scenario resembles is C, shaping. We are reinforcing first these approximations, 1 and 2, and then we need 1, 2, and 3, and then we need 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And as time goes on, we're reinforcing closer and closer approximations to our terminal behavior. And that's what shaping is, reinforcing approximations of behavior trying to reach your final destination. And then D, stimulus control. We may be trying to establish stimulus control, but right now, we're not discussing the stimulus control in this situation. We're talking about that reinforcement of those approximations as we move towards that final terminal behavior. So what does this resemble We'll see shaping. A coffee drinker learns to listen for the sound of their coffee maker finishing brewing alongside other similar sounds in the kitchen. The coffee drinker only goes to the kitchen when they hear the specific sound of the coffee maker. This is an example of blank. All right, so an example question. What do we know? We know the coffee drinker is listening for the sound of their coffee maker. Let's say we have our sound of the coffee maker and it's brewing. We have these other similar sounds. Let's just say we have sound X, sound Z, and sound A. The coffee drinker is only going to the kitchen when they hear S, because that's when the coffee is ready. Well, to be able to distinguish between all these different sounds, what does the coffee drinker what must they be able to do? Well, they must be able to A, discriminate between stimuli. All these are stimuli. They're all different sounds going on in the kitchen. And for us, stimulus discrimination is very important because we can tell the difference between these sounds. If the coffee drinker can't discriminate between the stimuli, then listening for the sound of the coffee maker does them no good. They don't know what the difference is between the sounds. So stimulus discrimination in this case helps the coffee drinker identify this is the sound of the coffee maker, and these are all the other sounds. What is response differentiation? Response differentiation is similar, but from the perspective of different responses. Response differentiation would be me saying point instead of grab. Those two responses, point and grab, are different. If you can differentiate between pointing and grabbing, you're differentiating between your responses. Task chaining. This is not a task chain. We have not done a task analysis. The task chaining doesn't fit. And then D, prompting. The coffee drinker going to the kitchen when they hear the sound of the coffee maker, that's not their prompting. No one's prompting the coffee drinker. They're listening for that sound of the coffee maker and then discriminating between the other sounds in the kitchen. So this is an example of stimulus discrimination. Chad is driving down the road when the stoplight changes from green to yellow. Chad tries to speed through the yellow light, but the light changes red before he makes it, and he gets pulled over by a police officer who writes him a ticket. Chad no longer speeds through yellow lights. Why? All right, we have a behavior change question. Why do we know behavior changed? Well, Chad stopped speeding through yellow lights. So did Chad's behavior increase or decrease? Well, we know it decreased. If behavior decreases, the consequence must have been either extinction or punishment. Reinforcement only increases. So we know Chad's behavior was either punished or put on extinction. Well, Chad was driving down the road. The stoplight changed. Chad was speeding. Light changed red before he made it. And what happened was he got pulled over by a police officer and wrote him a ticket. So getting pulled over, getting the ticket punished Chad because those things were added. And then Chad's behavior decreased. He never sped through the yellow lights again. So A, negative reinforcement. Well, we know Chad's behavior wasn't reinforced because his behavior decreased. Reinforcement will never decrease a behavior. That is the definition of reinforcement is we are increasing behavior. It can't be de-extinction because something was added. Extinction is the withholding of reinforcement. In this case, Chad gets a ticket, he gets pulled over. Those are all positive added stimuli. These are positive punishment. It's not C, negative punishment, because again, all those stimuli were being added to the situation. Chad no longer speeds through yellow lights because of B, positive punishment. You're walking through a city when you suddenly smell freshly baked bread. You're immediately hungry and decide to stop in for a snack and a drink at the local cafe. The smell of baked bread is a blank in this scenario. Let's think about our scenario because we are focused on the smell of baked bread. What is going on is you're walking through the city and then you smell the baked bread. When you smell the baked bread, you get hungry and stop for a snack and a drink at the local cafe. Consequence is maybe you're no longer hungry, maybe you're no longer thirsty. But that freshly baked bread in this context is what? Well, it's going to be a stimulus, right? Because when you get the stimulus, that change in the environment, you get hungry, you change your behavior, it evokes a behavior from you. That is all a stimulus changing and evoking behavior in you. Smell of baked bread is not a response. The response is either getting hungry, if we want to talk about private events, or going in and stopping for a snack. What it is a stimulus, is a change in the environment. The baked bread is not the consequence. The consequence is whatever happens after you stop for the drink in the cafe. And it isn't a prompt. It's not what prompted you do anything. It just changed. And if anything, it's a motivating operation, right? Or in SD, a discriminative stimulus, signaling something is available. That freshly baked bread smell is a stimulus in this scenario. Thanks for watching. Check out btexamreview.com for all of our study materials. When you pass, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. See you soon.